Peace, love, and blessings, everyone. And yes, we are back. Your resident STEM Gen, Jabril engineer, and Tariq Cardiac with the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. And we are presenting tonight STEM power couples of Howard with my little bro, Ameen Muhammad, and his lovely fiancee, Taylor Phillips-Jones. They are recent graduates of Howard University with their undergraduate degrees in mechanical engineering and biology. Taylor also has a slew of minors. We are going to get into a number of different topics. Please tune in for this dynamic episode and make sure to share with everyone that you know. Tune in for more after this. Let's get it, family. I think that
it gets better every single time, bro. Like every single time. But go ahead.
Yes, sir. Again, family, welcome back. Before we go any further, please take a moment. We are Tariq Cardiac and Jabril Engineer. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The STEM Files, as well as we are live right now on Facebook and YouTube at The STEM Files. That's Facebook and YouTube at The STEM Files. Make sure to comment in the chat any questions that you have that you want to make sure that we ask these budding professionals everything that we want to ask them to make sure that we give you high-level content, high-level value to do everything that you need to do and share it as well. I am your humble co-host, Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabril Engineer. I'm a civilian mechanical engineer focusing on naval ship fluid systems with a background in material science and engineering, the study of the various material classes and how their different structures allow them to be used in several different applications. I'm also the co-owner and director of engineering at our parent company, Original Man Scientific, designed to deliver the advantages of research and development to your community. I'm always joined by my more illustrious co-host, my bro, little big bro, I like to call him, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's always good to be back in the studio with my brother. And I am Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a background in concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Original Man Scientific, as well as the initiating founder of the company that this beautiful program falls under. I am excited for tonight's show. We got a double feature. We got two amazing young people who are striving to not only make their word bond in their professions, but make their word bond to each other. You know, so I look forward to tonight's show. Let's get it.
Praise be to Allah. So, like we always say, you know, me and Tariq can talk. You know, we can put a lot of phrases and things together, but the show is not about us, right? It's about who we bring on the platform. So, without further ado, we want to turn it over to our bro and sis, Ameen and Taylor. What's going on, family?
I guess I go first. Peace, fam. My name is Ameen Muhammad, and I am a recent graduate from Howard University with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And I'm also an incoming graduate student at the University of Pennsylvania, where I will be pursuing my master's degree in nanotechnology. And just a little bit of a background about what I've done and just my research. Most of my research has been in nanotech or nano engineering labs, so working a little bit with 3D bioprinting. And also I had a short summer where I did a little bit of packaging research. So yeah.
Oh, that's just
I was just talking about that.
Right, I was just talking about that.
Yes, a little bit.
Oh my God.
But I'll turn it over to now.
All right, cool. My name is Taylor Phillips-Jones. I graduated from Howard last year, in May of 2021, with a degree in biology, and I minored in Spanish, psychology, and chemistry. And since then, I've been working at the University of Maryland School of Medicine doing research in a neuroscience lab. And this fall, I'll be starting at the University of Pennsylvania with Ameen, but doing a MD PhD program.
Excellent. And I love this because we get to see. So Jabril and I, and we tell each other, we talk about this all the time on the show. We always talk about how he's the engineer and I'm the one in the life sciences, and we talk about the academic and the business marriage between us, right? But you guys are doing the personal marriage, or about to embark on the personal marriage that is going to be engineering and life sciences. So talk about how. Well, first of all, I want to know the love story. I want to know how y'all met. Let's go down memory lane, because I got so excited when I saw the post that brother was engaged. I was like, what? So I want to know the love story. How did y'all meet, and how do y'all feel about coming together with two polarizing disciplines? I know nanotech can get into biology very heavy, but just from a mechanical engineering perspective, and Taylor, you coming from a biology perspective, how do you guys mesh the two personally and professionally and academically?
Do you want to start, or you want me to start?
It sounds like you want me to start. So
okay, go ahead.
I'll start. There tends to be different versions of this popping up. So again, coming out of high school, we were both candidates for the CAR STEM Scholars Program, formerly known as the Bison STEM Scholars Program, which is essentially a program a new initiative that Howard started to increase the number of underrepresented minorities to go on to pursue a PhD or an MD PhD in a STEM-related discipline. So again, she's from Aurora, Colorado. I'm from Philadelphia. So we're both going to DC in the same.
Oh my God! Yeah. Right.
Far away.
Yeah, in the same scholarship program, and then getting to Howard and seeing all of the CAR STEM scholars, and first and foremost, you immediately are surprised by how many of your people want to do what you want to do, because I think both of us prior to coming, and she'll get into this too, but prior to coming to Howard, we saw a lot of our people doing what we want to do in school, but Howard was a different thing, and especially the CAR STEM Scholars Program. So she can, you can go from there, I guess.
Yeah, I will say that the love story and my medical MD PhD story both started through that program. So before I applied to college in my high school, it was not diverse in Colorado. So didn't see a lot of Black doctors, no Black scientists. I didn't even really know what research was until when I was applying to college, I got invited to apply to that program that Ameen mentioned. And then once I got to Howard and saw my fellow peers, as Ameen said, that were also interested in science, it was really fulfilling and really cool to be in that environment. And it also gave me more confidence that I could do it myself. So actually the first time I heard what an MD PhD was in that program. And that's what led me to not just want to practice medicine, but also research science to figure out how we can be better doctors and move forward.
Yes. That's actually the program I plan to go into myself when I finalize which medical school I'll be going to here in the States, the MD PhD program. Because it's just important to have doctors who not only can do patient care in the clinical side, but can also do the research. Not that you need the PhD, but going through that PhD program allows you to get the elements of research that you wouldn't otherwise get on your own.
Right.
So I think it's very important that doctors do that. But yeah, well, first and foremost, before we go any further, I just want to give a huge shout out to all the graduates all over the world who have graduated on any level of education, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, whatever they graduated from. Congratulations to all the 2022 graduates. We hope and pray that whatever you are planning to embark on is extremely successful. Just want to go ahead and throw that out there.
Graduates.
Right. Pandemic graduates, right. Yeah, bro.
No, I mean, you know me, I'm a nitpick because we still ain't hear the story. But we gonna, because I heard the story, but the people out, you know what I'm saying, and I meant what he said about there's different versions of this popping up, because we don't apparently agree with her version of how she tells it. So, But if we want to come back to that, we can come back to that because I always got questions. One of the biggest things that we like to do here on the STEM Files is break things down. We have a root knowledge in the Nation of Islam, and we always do our best to go to the root. So we're here talking about and congratulating you all for things that maybe some of us don't understand what that is. So can we break down two major things, right? We want to break down biology and then neurology. And we want to also break down mechanical engineering, and we want to break down nanotechnology. So I'll ask Sister Taylor if you'll go first, kind of breaking down those two, and then also how do they correlate? How do they connect for your future work that you'll do?
Yeah, so I'll start with neurology. So what is neurology? So neurology is a branch within medicine. So after you go through medical school and then you're at the point where you choose a residency program, there's a lot of different medical specialties that you can choose from. And neurology specifically deals with conditions related to the brain and spinal cord. So things from like epilepsy related to seizures all the way to things like multiple sclerosis and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. And biology, going broader than that, is looking at living organisms as a whole. So all of the different parts of the body and how they interact with each other. So neurology is like a subset of biology being the main umbrella term.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I guess biology and then the connection between the two.
Yeah, so just again, biology is like the umbrella. So everything about living organisms is within biology. So all the different organ systems are under that umbrella.
So what I'm hearing is, and again, like it may be simple, but we're talking about biology, which is like you said, the umbrella. And so you get broad and then we specialize, right? Because, at a certain point, it's hard to know everything, but starting off with a cursory to proficient understanding of that which is broad, and then being able to specialize allows you to appreciate specific components and areas within the body that much more. And I would say the same thing maybe on the engineering side. So I guess over to you, bro. Mechanical engineering and then nanotechnology, which is a very sexy field from what you see on the silver screen to what you see in real life. So break that down for us.
So I'll start with mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering is really one of the more diverse and versatile engineering fields. It's essentially the study of objects and systems in motion. So it basically deals with the design, construction, and use of machines. And basically, when moving over to the nanotech side, nanotechnology basically deals with the manipulation of materials on the atomic and molecular scale. So nanotechnology can basically branch into a lot of other fields. So Taylor can probably attest to this, but there's also like nanomedicine. So when you're dealing with nanomedicine, that would be like the use of nanoscale materials, which are like maybe biocompatible nanoparticles that could be used to for diagnosis.
Right.
Also get into, now we're moving more on the mechanical engineering side, nano robotics. So that's basically the technology of creating machines or robots at or close to the nanoscale. Because a lot of people, it's a common misconception that sometimes nanotech, even from the name, is always things at the nanoscale. Sometimes it's things very close to the nanoscale, but they still put that under nanotechnology. So I hope those two different examples kind of help explain, different paths you can go in with nanotechnology.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. You explained it very well. Yeah.
And I like to, this is something I kind of specialize in doing this, but I like how you started with what wasn't on the screen, and she started with what was on the screen.
That's my fault.
No, but it's not even. It's very interesting, kind of like seeing how your minds work and everything. But I think that's really cool because both of you have things that are very, very, very useful in building a nation. People talk about, well, why do we gotta talk about that black stuff all the time? Well, if you came to the STEM files, you're gonna get that. So I don't know why I'm asking that question. But
I'm trying to avoid it.
I really want to talk about the title of tonight's show, right? The STEM super couple of Howard. Now we get to talking about it on social media, whatever, power couples. Y'all gonna be a power couple. So in the context of the teachings, in the context of what we're trying to do as members of the Nation of Islam, what does it mean to be a true power couple, and how will you two strive to adhere to that definition with um
Bro, you gotta turn that light back on, man.
your
Hopefully
power
y'all
go
can
out?
still see me though. It's
I can
fine.
still see
Keep
you.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so the question basically is, utilizing the lens that is the teachings, right, in your respective disciplines. How does that frame your definition for a true power couple, and how will you utilize what you all are studying along with your sojourn together to really adhere to that definition?
Beautiful question.
You first or I'm first?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think that one element of power couple, the term, is being able to support each other. So I think that it's been really interesting being along this journey with Ameen. Even though we're in two separate STEM disciplines, they're both very hard. Very hard classes. A lot of time studying, a lot of time preparing essays, interviews. Like there's a lot that goes into it, and doing it alone can be a lot. And even though we're not doing the same thing, we've both helped each other throughout the process. And as they're about to embark on the next graduate phase of this training too, we're really going to need the support from each other to keep going on. So in times that I'm feeling down, not feeling confident in what I'm doing, he could be there to be like, keep going, like you got this, keep going. So that dynamic of being able to support each other through it has been really, really helpful.
Definitely agree with everything she said. Just to add, I think that when we get into the teachings and the science of mating and kind of picking who you want to be your husband or who you want to be your wife, you really want someone who is going to complement what you do and be that help me. And I think that in terms of what I was thinking, I always pictured myself being with someone who was going to be in the STEM field, to be honest. Always.
Likewise. Same.
Even
Yep.
when I was younger. And I thought of that because as I got further into high school, as I definitely got further into college, I said, this is gonna be hard. Okay.
Yep.
And it's gonna be and it's gonna be long hours. There's gonna be a lot of taxing things. And you want someone who's going to be able to understand that, but not just understand that. It's even, from my experience, better with someone who actually goes through it the same exact way. So all the research papers, all the tests, getting on FaceTimes, studying with each other, libraries, stuff like that. All that kind of goes into this. And you see everything basically. Like I think Taylor has seen probably all of my meltdowns, breakdowns. How am I going to do this? And I have seen on the opposite side all of hers. And I think that just helps when you're moving forward on this path. I could probably talk about I could really talk about that all night, but yeah, I think that's where that's what I think about when I think of the STEM super couple, or trying to grow into that as well.
Do you ever find yourselves like at a challenging? Well, let me reword it. Do you ever find yourselves kind of disagreeing on anything, just from a mental perspective, in terms of how you think based on the STEM disciplines you're in? Like Jabril and I, for example, like he thinks like an engineer. I think like somebody in medicine. Two different thought processes. So what do you all like? Do you all find yourselves kind of just like, okay, I look at it this way, you look at it that way, and how do you come together to kind of just, alleviate that based on, your love for each other?
I can start. So I would say absolutely yes. I think that from the medical side of things, medicine, a lot of it is about the science, understanding how the body works, how to treat different diseases, but a lot of it too is your interaction with people. If
Right.
you're able to emotionally connect with people that are going through very hard times, because a lot of times you see these people, they're sick, they're dealing with loss at times. So you have to be able to be vulnerable and be able to connect with them in that way. So I will
Right.
say I tend to be a lot more emotional at times than Ameen. So when I'm talking about things or people are talking to me, even like just normally I'll understand their perspective in a way that Ameen doesn't sometimes. So he'll be very logical about things like, well, they could just do this. I'm like, but think about like their feeling and how they were thinking. So that's one really big major difference I'd say.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. I think I'm more of the let's math and logic this out and make this the most efficient solve
There
this
we
in the
go.
most efficient way possible, basically. I always tell her, like, if we're ever watching a show like where someone's performing surgery, whatever like that, I always say, like, see, this is why I was built to deal with machines. I said I need something that can't talk back to me.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So
y'all terrible.
Yeah, I kind of think of it. We do kind of think of things on a differently in that way. But I think a lot of times, especially when I had my first experience working in a nanotech lab at UC San Diego, I actually had to start studying more biology. Because although mechanical engineering is a good background to get into nanotechnology, it actually has a lot of like biology, chemistry, and material science, which is a part of the curriculum for mechanical engineering. But we do often find ourselves kind of going back and forth in terms of how something can be solved. So yeah,
it's balance though. It's about balance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He makes me think logical more sometimes, and I'm being emotional, and vice versa.
But yeah, sometimes I'm like, that makes more quote unquote my logical thing may not always be so logical. So you know what I'm saying?
Got you. Jay.
It's funny because, like, one thing I always talk about to people is that, me and my brother spent a lot of time together growing up, right? So in particular, being homeschooled, most people that are a distance apart in age that we are typically don't see each other as much because they're in different schools. So for example, like one in middle, one in elementary, one in high, one in middle, but being homeschooled and spending like nearly a decade together, then that going to me in high school, him still at home, me in college, him in high school, me an adult, him in college, like I almost felt like there was this kind of void where I just was like talking to him and now he's an adult. But It's so funny when he gets to talking and as she's explaining how he is, like, that's my brother. Like, Ameen can be very dry, like in a sense that, but in a way that, like, his humor, he has dry humor sometimes, but also in his way of assessing a problem, I think I can sometimes be a bit more balanced. Whereas though, yeah, I'll see it a certain way, see things in systems, but I also have high EQ. Whereas Ameen to be like, look, this how it is. No ketchup, no dressing, no salt. This it. Why don't like get with the program? But there's a time and place for that too. Whereas though, Tay has the nuance, like, okay, where is this? And that's what we're really talking about is high science. A lot of times I think what I struggle with is, and people who know me very, very well know this. I tend to think that when I finish thinking about it, nobody can think about it better than I've thought about it. Like, so once I've thought about it and wrote it down and I presented it, there's no way you can't understand it. What I've realized through marriage is that my way, no matter how well thought out, still may not fall on the ears the way that somebody else may do that. But that's the same when you present a product or do a pitch. The art of communication is very real. It's an art form. It's a science, right? So the ability to convey something in a way that somebody particularly understands it is so key. Just because I've said it and I feel like I understand it and it's been clear, well, it's not clear to them. So I think that's what they're talking about here, which is beautiful. But I did want to get into something very specific because a lot of times, we talk about, or we see the top of the iceberg, and we don't see what's submerged. We don't see the coursework and the tiers, the things you were talking about. So speak to some of the course load and the differences between your respective undergraduate degrees, and specifically, what about engineering specifically and mechanical engineering makes that difficult? And then what about pre-med and biology specifically makes that difficult? Because I was saying there's something about these two being hard, but they're hard in different ways and require you to think differently and do different things throughout that coursework. So kind of walk us down that road.
Which one? I guess you can take a step. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stigma around pre-med. I think it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot sometimes. So of course there's hard courses. Everyone a lot. There's some people that love organic chemistry. I was not one of them. There's always courses like that require a lot more studying, a lot of nights staying up till like 3 with your friends in the study lounge, stressing together. But I think another part of pre-med that people don't talk about as much that is also really difficult is balancing schoolwork with everything else you need to get into med school. So it's not just about getting good grades, even though that's really important. It's also about community service and volunteering in the community. It's also about shadowing, because when you apply to med school, you want to show that you actually know what you're getting yourself into. And a way for them to evaluate that is if you actually shadowed doctors, you've seen patients, you understand what it's like. Because medicine isn't just about like if you're interested in the body, this is like
yes.
what you do. It's also about being able to handle hard situations that doctors go through every day. So that's one important part of it too. And then with me, with MD PhD, also while I was taking courses, I was working in a research lab full time. So if you're applying to MD PhD programs, you really have to get a lot of research experience. So as Ameen talked about a little bit before, we did research internships every summer. I worked in a research lab all 4 years of college. So a lot of it's time management and balance, which is what makes pre-med hard. But once you're able to get a system and manage your time efficiently, it can be done. It is possible. It's not impossible, but it is a lot to handle at times.
And you said something very key about, being able to make sure that medicine is not just about the body. I was talking with a few of my colleagues the other day about the bedside manner and being able to treat people right who are going through any type of medical condition. They're going through something. You can't just be in and out like there's some type of number. Right. Like you have to have a good bedside manner. So it's highly encouraged that anybody who wants to go into medicine as an ultimate career have some level of patient care experience, research experience, where you've had some type of interaction with patients, so that by the time you get to medical school, you're not some robot shouting out different types of diseases and medical terminology. So Taylor made a very good point about that, understanding the two sides of medicine, the education and the humanity. Go ahead, bro.
Definitely agree with that. And I think on my end, in terms of what makes this really hard, I think starting off with what you said about numbers, it's a lot of math, and big physics background in engineering that there isn't so much of in, say, biology or chemistry. And I think that Taylor, we've had conversations about this. She'll attest to this too, that a lot of what you will do in medical school for at least maybe the beginning is having a lot of information and kind of like memorizing a lot of information. Whereas on the engineering side, it's how do you apply this equation or whatever you learned in undergrad or whatever you learn in graduate school, how do you apply that to a specific real world problem? You know? So I think, at Howard University, I think biology students and chemistry students may go to like Calc 1 or Calc 2. And then engineering students go to Calc 2, Calc 3, differential equations, probability and statistics, which is probably where that logic kind of mindset starts to come in to play. There's a big physics background when you're taking classes like solid mechanics, where you're trying to find the stress versus the strain of a particular material or something like that. And then when you're getting into, they do labs as well, but when you're getting into labs trying to actually solve this real world problem. We actually, I just got done a senior project class where we had to make a, she's laughing because she knows about this project and how much this stress this project was giving me for various reasons. But basically, we were tasked with building a telescope that has a deployable baffle, and I'll explain what a baffle is. She's laughing about that too because she would always say, "What's a baffle?" You keep saying,
I'm baffled by what a baffle is.
So
I still don't know what it is.
She still doesn't know what it is. So basically, if you think about a telescope, if there's kind of like a cylindrical structure that basically deploys to block out straight light. And and getting into what this whole question was about, she was talking. She was asking me she was telling me how it's really cool that in our senior year we get to do something like that real. You know, something that we can really see, and it really shows what we've learned over the last 4 years. Where she'll get a lot of that in graduate school, but I got a lot of that in undergrad. So I think that just kind of highlights the differences between our disciplines.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm loving this program so far. But family, we are at our 30-minute mark of the show already, halfway done. And at this time, at this time, we usually like to take a moment to shout out the Final Call newspaper. We're going to play a quick video about what the Final Call is, and then we'll talk about this week's issue. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Let's get to it.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right. And Jabril, what is this week's issue about?
Oh, this issue.
Right.
So, family, this is the Final Call newspaper. For those who are any level of fan of the STEM Files, you know that Brother Tariq and I are very proud, and we talk about being members of the Nation of Islam. Very proud, FOI, all the time. The Final Call newspaper is our flagship news source for local, national, and international news that you can use. For your latest issue digitally, go to finalcalldigital.com and follow at Final Call newspaper on all platforms. This current edition is U.S. government officials. UFOs are real. UFOs, for those who don't know, right? Unidentified flying objects. Congressional hearings reveal more of the reality of crafts taught about by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, and the Nation of Islam. We've been teaching about this for decades, where there have really been IFOs for us identified as
That's right.
At a different time. You know, if you want to understand more about the Nation of Islam's stance and teaching on UFOs, go back in our archives and watch with our dear brother Elia Rashad on when he did a 2-part show with us on UFOs from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But family, this is really pertinent information for all of us to understand as it pertains to the nation we live in and nations around the world and their stance towards something that was seemingly unreal and just a movie thing until now they're bringing out very real documentation that documents the realness of these crafts. Again, finalcalldigital.com for your latest digital edition. Follow at Final Call newspaper on all platforms if you want to get your latest edition. If you're in the Philadelphia area, Richmond, Virginia area, you can tap in with myself, my brother Ameen, or my brother Tariq, and we'll handle you very well to get you as a part of our growing customer base. Final Call newspaper family.
We got 3 FOI on the screen. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. And 1 MVP. We ain't gonna leave.
Right. That's right.
Go now.
Right. But yeah, family, that UFO episode with Brother Elia was one of our most popular episodes. He really broke of all time. I think it's right underneath Dr. Aleem's episode in terms of viewership. Yeah. Right. It's still going crazy.
Right.
You know, and he really broke down the scientific and engineering aspects of the plane. You know, we didn't just talk about what we heard about the plane or what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, but we took it a little step further and just really broke down different things, the different scientific and engineering aspects of that plane.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go back and watch it, matter of fact, next week we might go ahead and just do a live replay of that episode for everybody to see, just because of what just came out, just
Absolutely.
for that. Absolutely. All right. So, Jabril, go ahead.
Absolutely. So, as we move forward, one of the things that is always just amazing to me is how many, young Black, soon to be professionals, we go out, we spend 4+ years in college, we go to career fairs, and we're putting our resumes in front of companies that may or may not have our best interests at heart. We want to work at the Googles and the Microsofts and the IBMs and the Facebooks and the Teslas and the Toyotas of the world. And I recruit, sometimes I have recruited for my job. And one of the things that I'll say it disgusted me, I guess, is just like, look at all this Black talent.
Right.
And there's not one Black-owned company present. So with what you all have done, going through an HBCU, now going to a PWI, and having the background that you have, explain the need for Black-owned, operated, and proud spaces, particularly for the employment of young and journey-level STEM professionals.
Sure. Definitely. I think I can start with this one, and the same thing that you said when you go to those fairs and you see all of these, all of this young Black talent, and there's no Black companies. The same thing that stuck out to me, especially when you go to a school like Howard, where it doesn't matter where we go, we always show up and show out. It doesn't matter.
Right.
A debate team at Harvard beating Harvard, or we're
defeating them,
winning awards at research conferences. We're always doing something great, but a lot of times we tend to want to latch on to those bigger companies. So personally, I've always wanted to, when I got older and kind of got more mastery over my field, wanted to develop my own company. And one of the things I wanted to do with that was get youth involved in that, because I think that a lot of times the reason why we don't see this many times is because we're taught at a very young age to grow up and get a job. We're not taught to grow up and create and grow up and have our own employees. We're taught to be an employee. I think high school, middle school, college definitely teaches you to be an employee without the right knowledge. So I think one of the things that helps to combat that is more people seeing Black-owned companies doing things like this. So, for instance, the STEM files or Original Man Scientific, different things like that. More of that allows youth, especially Black youth, to see that doing something like this is possible. So
that's right. Appreciate that. Appreciate the plug for sure. I mean, you can't plug on the plug, but
I want to plug.
You can.
Chorus. All right, cool. Thank you so much for that, bro. Taylor, what about you?
I agree with everything Ameen said. I think even in medicine, like, role models are very, very important. And if young Black youth don't see role models in the careers they're interested in, or in the positions of power in a way, or authority that they want to be in eventually, then it discourages you. So I've been in moments too where I haven't seen a lot of Black neuroscientists, a lot of Black pediatric neurologists, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to be in a space where I feel like I'm alone, or I feel like I can't be at that level. And I think it's important to have programs like we had the Karshtem Scholars Program, where you're surrounded by intelligent Black scholars all working towards a similar goal and continuously getting educated about opportunities available to you. Because like I said, before I went to college, I didn't even know what an MD PhD was. And even if you look at the statistics for how many Black students applied for MD PhD programs, it's 5 to 8% of all the applicants to apply. So it's a big problem is lack of educating students about these opportunities in the first place. So that's one thing I really want to do when I start my medical school journey in the fall and then continuing on through my career is be able to mentor youth and show them opportunities related to STEM and get them educated about that early on so they know if it's something that they're interested in and not deprive them of opportunities that a lot of other people get, but they just don't know about it. So that's really important.
Yeah, and that definitely agree. And I just wanted to add one more thing. One thing that I was just saying was, I think that I was talking about learning, basically going to school to become an employee. And I emphasize without the proper knowledge and not thinking about it the right way. It's one thing, of course, if you're trying to build yourself and you have a job where you are an employee for a certain time, but more of us need to think about, is this what I want to be an employee for this company for the rest of my life?
Right.
When you have the ability, I could not. There's so many people I know at Howard that have the ability to have their own business and do their own thing, that don't need, maybe initially, but don't need to do something like that for the rest of their lives. So I think, again, emphasizing more so, again, these things can be tools to further you along, but this is not something you have to do forever. So yeah.
Right. That's very. Oh, go ahead, bro.
No. Finish your thought. I'll say that after.
No, I was just going to make a comment about what Ameen said about, using the popular company as a stepping stone instead of it's your end all be all. Go ahead, go out and get that education, get that experience, get those internships, get that money, and then eventually use it to go off on your own. It's a steal away method. Like, don't stay in an environment that's going to constantly make you work for them and do their bidding. You also want to just take what they have and build for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Jabril and I are doing that right now. We work for popular institutions or mainstream level or higher or conglomerates in a sense, but it's not something we plan on doing forever. Jabril's not going to be with the United States Navy forever. I'm not going to be with Virginia Commonwealth University forever. These are places that are giving us what we need, and then we're applying that to OMS, like in so many different ways. Just wanted to just appreciate Ameen's thoughts on that.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add something. I saw a post. I follow, probably all of us do. I follow Brother Ben, and one of the things that him and Brother Farrakhan are doing is share after farms. And we so sick as a people sometimes, and sometimes these posts are from troll and bot posts. You don't know who's real. But
right.
I want to make it very clear that I nor none of us are anti-employee, right? We are pro options. I'm going to say that again because I went over some of our heads, right? So I'm not anti-employee. I'm pro options. So Brother Ben and them were talking to one of the brothers about, they partner with a trucking company, and they were comparing the salaries that are made by their truckers to brothers who drive trucks in other companies. So somebody's under the comment, again, don't know if it's real or not. Why not educate us on how to make our own trucking companies as opposed to basically giving out jobs?
Right.
And I was like, the next complaint will be, well, y'all said y'all got chocolate and all this. Why my chocolate late? Because we ain't got no drivers. I mean, my thing is
supply and demand.
We can't
you ain't asking
talk
for
about
it.
making business. Because my thing is, when you have your trucking company, aren't you going to hire drivers? So then can I ask you, why you not educating them brothers and sisters to have their own companies? Like, at what point do we understand that to have real brick and mortar or real successful business, you need employees? The issue is not being an employee and being a boss of business. The issue is not being able to work for companies that have your best interests at heart and really provide for you. We're in a society where it's become dang near the equivalent of losing your physical life if you're broke.
Yep.
So people think when they lose money when they're broke, like, oh my God, I might as well die. That's what people think. So you chase this elusive bag to try to live a quality of life that you really shouldn't have to make that much to be able to live. Right. And then a lot of us think that this is going to be here forever. So we want to learn to move like the wolves move. I don't want to be a wolf. Who the hell wants? Excuse me. Who wants to be a wolf
or a shark?
or a shark? Why would I want to
Come
be
on.
that? I'm a black guy. I'm a human being.
There we go.
So why can't I live and treat people like human beings? Right? We're taught in the nation where Jesus said the best religion was doing unto others that we have done unto ourselves. If I don't want nobody treating me or being a wolf to me, why would I, eat off of somebody else? So what we need to do is learn the principles of mating, of warfare, of business, but apply them in righteous ways that allow us to move forward successfully as a people and not just get caught up in black capitalism being equivalent to black liberation, because it's not.
Right.
It's a part of it. But I'm gonna step off the roster now because we be talking. It be 9:30.
Praise be to Allah. Oh man, and brother is a very, very talented brother in the student ministry. So beloved, the STEM Files is your rostrum anyway. So you good. But we have a question from the audience. I believe this is Sister Sandra, the mother-in-law of our beloved brother. She said, ASA to Taylor, what kind of classes or programs can an 11-year-old girl do in the summer dealing with science?
Well, in response to Sandra, I don't know offhand programs specifically for 11-year-olds, but I do know that they have a lot of summer camp related programs, virtual and in person, that do things to get students interested in science and medicine. I honestly, because I was looking to try to volunteer at places like this because I love working with children and I love educating children about science. So I literally just did Google searches looking for different programs that students could do to get interested in medicine. So I'd recommend doing that, but I don't know offhand. A lot of the stuff I do now is dealing with undergraduate students in college.
Awesome. Ameen?
Yes, sir. And I would just add, they're popping up a lot in a lot of different major cities. So if you search maybe just STEM summer camp, your area, whatever your area is, a lot of different a lot of different programs will pop up. Also, I would look for if there's local high schools. For instance, my high school, engineering science in Philadelphia, I went to a week summer camp for engineering science when I was in middle school. So any high schools that typically try and get people ready for STEM careers will have summer camps sometimes like this too. So just to get your search started.
Awesome. All right, family.
Very good,
yes,
answer.
Absolutely. Very
That's
great
key,
answer.
man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something too. One thing I've noticed, for those who don't know, my brothers, our family business is basically academic consulting, tutoring, how to find scholarships, etc. Right? So one of the things I'm realizing is the way we were raised is becoming more and more potent and attractive through COVID, and because people are really realizing how these school systems are failing them. So everybody's looking for online enrichment, physical enrichment. How can I, my child interested in some esoteric science? Where can I find something that who has the cookie?
Right.
and I need it. So, for those who have skill sets, and this goes back to the employee mindset, I would say the age of true job security is over. We're in the age of, you have a piece of paper, but you have the skill set to match. Like, if I'm a basketball coach, I don't care that you played AAU. Were you tough in AAU?
Right.
I don't care that you was on the team. Did you ride the bench? Did you start? Are you a specialist? Are you all around? So, like, can you do what you say you can do? So whatever opportunities you have, whatever you're doing, working, volunteering, paid internship, will this, when you're done and you complete it, or after a certain amount of time, will you have skill sets where if you're fired today, you can start something or, promote yourself to be able to get another opportunity because of certain skill sets.
That's right.
You know, so for those who are watching and have skill sets and have interest and make programs, utilize social media, you know, sell your service, start free and work to see how things go, because people are looking. And I'm telling you, like in our community, in the Black community, you know, we need to upskill in those nation building skills very quickly, because we're coming to it, and agriculture. We need to be able to produce food, right? Clothing, shelter, defend ourselves, have recreation, right? Be able to stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer, etc. But that doesn't happen just by existing. It happens by truly living. So,
That's right. Absolutely. And speaking of, you know, being able to tap into communities' talents, you know, we want to go ahead and do our Black Business Highlight. And the Black Business Highlight is really just a segment of the show where we talk about a Black-owned business, whether it's related to the guest or not. And this particular Black-owned business is called By Night Healthcare LLC. Last year, I started a nurse staffing agency for registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, CNAs, because I saw a need for an agency that was focused on making our communities decent and safe. You know, we want to use healthcare to make our communities decent and safe. Our people are sick. But when you look at hospitals or medical centers or institutions, you know, their ultimate objective is to keep them on this this mode of treatment that may not necessarily be the best way to help them through what they're going through. So I started an agency where we are recruiting nurses and techs to go out into communities that need it the most. And it's called By Night Healthcare LLC. If you are in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and you're interested in going out to homes or nursing homes and being that different type of light for your community in healthcare, definitely visit us at the email in the bio. It's going to be right there in the description. So definitely check us out. By Night Healthcare LLC.
I ain't gonna hold you. That name hard.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Hard.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Bro, Sister Kiara got 2 questions in the chat.
Okay, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh no. Trust and believe. I was gonna come right back to it. So this is from my lovely wife, Kiara Muhammad, for Ameen. What do you plan on focusing your nanotechnology research on?
That's a good question. And I'm still figuring out myself. But one of the things that my program allows you to do is a master's thesis. It's optional. So you don't have to do that if you're a master's student there. But and real quick, giving the audience a definition. A master's thesis is basically an academic paper that you typically write towards the end of your degree if you're doing a master's thesis. But I've thought about focusing on maybe nano robotics, like I was talking about. But I'm also in the future interested in nanotechnology for water purification, actually. So basically working with like filters or that are made of like polymer membranes that can basically get rid of a virus or bacteria that's, you know, in water and stuff like that.
Nice. Almost like a flocculant, right?
Yeah. So things like that. But as far as my particular program, still seeing exactly what I want to do, but probably I might lean towards nano robotics. So yeah.
Cool. All right. And well, she didn't direct the question towards both of you, but I'm interested in, well, no, you already said pediatric neurology. So for those who are watching, Taylor, can you go into what inspired you to go into neurology and why pediatrics specifically?
Yes. So in college, when I first got exposed to research, I was really drawn to the brain. I've always thought the brain was super interesting, and a lot of my research was in neuroscience. And more recently, I'm really interested in neuroimmunology, which basically is a field looking at how the immune system and nervous system interact.
Nice.
And I always have loved working with children, so I really wanted to find a way to connect my research interest with working with children. So pediatric neurology was a good way to segue both of those passions of mine. And right now, I don't know if it'll change. I have 8 years of a program to change my mind. But right now, I'm really interested in neuroinflammatory conditions that children have. So children can get like pediatric multiple sclerosis and a lot of other things. And even the immune system can play a role in possibly leading to like the aggressiveness of neurodevelopmental disorders too, like autism and other things. So really interested in researching that, but it might change. We'll see.
Man, y'all gonna kick some ass. I'm sorry for the vulgarity, but like y'all incredible. And I want to echo our sister Sandra's words. She said she's proud of us. I'm proud of y'all too. Like this is incredible. Like we're not technically in the same. We're in different parts of the same generation.
Right.
Jabril and myself are in a different part of the generation you guys that we're all in. But it's so amazing to see what you guys are becoming. You know, like I said, when I was on Instagram and I saw the post about you guys getting married, I was like, just because I feel like he's my little brother too, even though we're not biologically connected like that. It's just seeing the young people coming up behind you. You know, I tell my little sisters all the time. She said she was 24. I'm like, 24? What? Like, how are you 24? You know, I was just like, you know, you was just chasing me down the hallway talking about where you going. Now you're 24 and got your own family. Like, what? You know? So it really inspires you to see, you know, the younger siblings who are coming up behind you to just do amazing work and going to do even greater work than you know, because you guys are gonna like kill it and already killing it, you know. So I just want to say I'm proud of y'all. Thank y'all for what y'all doing. There was something else I wanted to say. Jabril?
Like I said, I echo everything you said. You know, like I'm constantly in awe. I feel like, and this is something, every time I talk to my brother, like I always feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm like, no, literally, I'm like, bro, like, you know, I try to be humble, right? Like, and people say, oh, you're doing this, doing that, like, you know, whatever. But like, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm my own worst critic. Like, you know, I try my best to not get a big head if people give accolades or what have you, because I always look at the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and how much he's done and is doing. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. You know, and I guess there's a healthy balance between underselling yourself and then overselling yourself. And I have a hard time kind of moving the needle so that it's in the middle. But one of the things I always say, like, I look up to him, not physically, of course. but like, no, but I do.
I'm kind of getting up there now. You know what I'm saying?
Up where? Where are we getting up to? Like, but anyway, to both of them, because to be able to traverse a school and stay focused on their Islam and their majors the way they did is amazing. And to be able to continue to, because a lot of us, we get lost and we stay where we go. And I got this high paying job or whatever, and I'm just here. And we don't bring it back. But I have no doubt in my mind that they desire to bring it back. Right. So I always look at, you know, they always say you never know who's watching you. So I think for all of us listening, it's very important that you don't always know who's watching you, and also never think you're unworthy of being watched. Because on your worst day, you may have saved someone from making a life-changing decision that is much less than ideal. So never sell yourself short. You know, you're always somebody's inspiration, whether you want to be or think you should be or not. And as long as you define what success means for you and you move toward that definition, then comparisons are really null. There's no need.
Absolutely.
You're not somebody else, but they also aren't you.
Right.
And we can take that as we may. But I'm very proud of you both.
Appreciate
Extremely.
it.
Sure. Absolutely.
I just want to be able to. I know y'all talking about businesses, but me and Tariq talk. I just want to be in a position to like y'all sit down and I put a contract in front of you, like, and y'all can feed your family. Like, hey, these are benefits. This is starting salary. This is what I need you to do. Like,
Right.
I would, and yeah, I mean, yes or no,
and
whatever.
It's coming.
But
And it's coming.
because my thing is, again, we can't be anti-employee. You can have a business still work, but to be able to have a science technology company where my family, friends, and people who are about something and are good people work, and we do something for the community. That's what we're trying to build, and we will do it.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. And Jabril likes to sell himself short a lot. You know, when I tell you this brother's a sword in engineering, he's a sword. Like, he wrecks everything he touches in engineering. So he's a very, very talented brother. He does a lot. He does a lot more than he thinks he does. And I just want to say, like, I'm gonna always be Jabril's advocate, always, because the brother does a lot, both personally and professionally. You know, so we got some things coming down the pipe that y'all gonna just be blown away by. And most of that stuff is because Jabril had a hand in that. You know, so Nation of Islam, Black community, y'all in for it.
That's right.
Praise be to Allah. But this is, you know, we're at an hour of the program. You know, this has been very quick. Right. But I have one more question from the audience, and I gotta ask this because if I don't, so what are you both most looking forward to as you embark on your next chapter in your academics?
I'll let Tay answer this first.
All right, I'll start. Kind of what Ameen talked about earlier. When you're pre-med, a lot of what you do in undergrad isn't really related to medicine, even though you're trying to get to medicine eventually to study it. So I'm actually excited to study medicine. And
right.
About medicine, because I haven't really done that up until this point other than shadowing. So really understanding the human body, understanding diseases, how they're treated now, what can be used to treat them, and also really going in the community. So one thing I really liked about the school that I'm going to is they have a lot of programs in the community, really interacting with them and understanding their concerns related to healthcare, social determinants of health, their food security, a lot of things that you don't think about when you're like, oh, here's a pill to treat this condition, but not like, where do you live? Do you eat the right foods? Are you education? So I'm really excited to go into that part of my training for sure.
Beautiful.
And awesome. for me, I think it relates to the last question about what my research was going to be in. I've always wanted, my parents can attest to this a lot, I've always wanted to work in nanotech. That was my first summer internship. I always wanted to work in nanotech, but I know what I want to do in it, but it's becoming a bigger and bigger field. I'm interested to get in terms of like getting into these courses and really seeing which path I want to go down, whether it's be, you know, nanofabrication, nanoscale systems biology, quantum engineering, or stuff like that. So I'm just interested in kind of really narrowing that scope a little bit.
All I know is I'm gonna make sure I stay on your good side, so you don't put nothing on my cars that'll eat it whole. Right. You know, I don't want you. I don't want that smoke. So
I'm coming after everybody that did me wrong.
Right. Me about to be the Iron Ant-Man.
Like, oh my goodness. But yeah, family, this is the last couple of minutes of the STEM files. We have just built with a STEM super couple, Ameen Muhammad, Taylor Phillips-Jones. I was thoroughly fed. You know, this has been a great show. We always like to see the marriage between the life sciences and engineering. It's a beautiful thing. We got something else here. All right. So at this time, we're gonna go ahead and do what's called the STEM file speed round. And I'm very interested in this. Oh, yes. Are you kidding?
Like, I was like, here. In my mind, yes. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, how are we going to do this?
So they both answer they can both answer the question.
All right.
So basically, the speed round is just lightning rounds of random questions that we do to get to know you guys outside of the show theme. So just answer as quick as possible. If you can't answer, you got to move on to the next one. We give you about 4 seconds to answer each question. Does that sound good?
All right.
Yep.
All right, so maybe amongst yourself, figure out who you want to answer first, so you're not like yelling it at the same time. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, she can answer every question first.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Y'all ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. The first thing you do or think of when you wake up.
Food.
Going back to sleep.
Okay.
I ain't mad at you.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Cold.
Walking or jogging?
Jogging.
Jogging.
Okay.
Professional work or volunteer work?
Volunteer work.
Professional work.
You do not like the people, bro.
You gotta say it different than what she put. I can't get the same answers every single time.
All right, now here we go.
Gotcha.
All right, favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Oh man. I say like my black high-heeled boots.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The Jordan 1.
Jordan 1.
Nice.
Come on now.
Classics.
All right. Here we go. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm gonna say nothing.
You got an Android?
And he's
Oh, you do.
So-
You do get that green. Yeah, that's you.
Oh man. Oh my God. I was hoping y'all wouldn't notice
He
that.
got the
but
Switch
of
though,
course.
so it's gonna be all four. It's gonna be
Well,
iPhone.
I've been back and forth, but we gonna move on. We gonna talk about that.
All right. Here we go. Favorite thing to cook?
Desserts.
Chili.
Not this chili, bro.
All right. I heard some things about this chili. I had to. Favorite song of all time?
Oh man. Oh, A Song for You by Donny Hathaway.
Nice.
It's a Michael Jackson song, but I can't remember the name of it.
How
does it go?
It's
You gonna sing it?
Yeah. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is.
I thought it was gonna be
It's not a popular song or nothing like that.
It is. I was. Oh man, I can't think of.
Well, we get to it. All right, here we go. Youth engagement or raising money for your nonprofit?
Youth engagement.
Youth engagement.
Okay. All right. The worst job you ever had?
Oh.
I know y'all got something.
I know what I mean.
You can go first, Dean.
Come on, Ivan. Come
Okay.
on.
Probably some form of watching a little child.
I knew somebody was going to say babysitting.
Oh,
Babysitting. Some form of that, probably.
This wasn't really a job, but I'd say when my grandparents used to make me pull weeds in the farm.
That's a
I
job.
didn't like that task at all.
The farm.
Sometimes the things don't want to come up. Wow.
All right, here we go. If you were stuck on an island for a year, you could only listen to 3 albums. What would they be?
Albums?
Or either the albums or people or the artists.
Okay, I'll do artists.
Yeah. Okay.
Miguel.
Okay.
Michael Jackson.
Nice.
And this is hard. I would just say Usher or something. I don't know.
This Saturday morning cleaning session about to be
the R&B flow.
You said Usher, Michael Jackson, and Miguel.
Right.
I'm gonna say Michael Jackson, Meek, and India.Arie.
Wow. I heard her in a minute.
Okay,
that's gonna be lit. And y'all on the island. She can be an island vibes.
For the 215. You know how he
of course. I was waiting for that.
All right, here we go. If you could meet any scientist from the past or present, who would it be and why? And this could be STEM professional. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a traditional scientist per se.
Right.
I have one. I don't know the name. When I was younger, I did a report on a black mathematician, but I did it when I was very, very young. But I remember.
Mom, where you at in the chat, Mom?
Is it Benjamin Banneker or?
No, it was man, I can't remember, but I did a report on that person. I really like that.
Come on, Mom, fly in the chat. Fly in the chat, Mom.
I don't remember.
Or we could say I also did a report on this person, George Washington Carver.
Carver. We done heard.
That's my guy.
Hey,
that's my guy.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but I'd say the first black doctor like ever. I was understand their experience, like what was going on at the time.
You think about Emotep, like you want to go all the way back with it.
Yeah, like the very, very beginning.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Okay. And so we got a couple more. So for both of you, if I wasn't, I guess, pursuing nanotechnology, if I wasn't pursuing neurology, what would I be?
I would be a teacher. I'd be like a biology teacher at a middle school or something.
I'd be like a life coach.
But you don't like people, Ross.
But the thing is this.
How are you gonna be a life coach?
The thing is, I do. It's just sometimes, that's what it is. I do.
I'd be a life coach.
Or either that, or something where you're like a marriage counselor or something like that.
Okay.
Another one.
You want to be able to talk.
Yeah, I want to be able to talk. Marriage counselor or a life coach.
Marriage counselor, life coach, and a teacher. Man,
so like the guide, yeah.
You just want to be irritated all the time.
I want to tell people about themselves.
You want to tell people what to do and tell them where to go with their nonsense.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's funny.
Goodness.
All right, here we go. Last one. Y'all funny. All right, here we go. So listen. My name is Taylor Phillips-Jones. My name is Ameen Muhammad, and I am.
Oh, like our profession? Is that
No, you gotta tell us what you are.
Who you are. You are, or I am.
An innovator.
An innovator.
Nice.
I'll say an educator.
An innovator and an educator. That's lit. Because the innovator has to educate.
Come on.
To be a true educator, you gotta innovate. Like what you
there you go.
About here.
Right.
Absolutely. So so like they need each other. Happy marriage.
Right.
Yeah, look at that.
Y'all made for each other. Beautiful. Excellent.
This has been
so what do y'all have a date set yet on the wedding?
I don't know, do we?
I'm done.
Not at the time we are honing in on a month, but a particular set of months maybe. So stay tuned for
next year. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. Definitely take your time. This is a beautiful thing. I look forward to seeing what y'all do together, separately. The STEM Files, as Jabril always says, is your home. This is the place where you can come and talk about anything STEM related. If you just finished medical school, come right back and tell us about your medical school journey. You just finished your you getting your PhD, right?
Master's first.
Master's degree, right? Yeah. Master's first, then PhD.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. So whenever you're done with each one, just come on back to the STEM Files. Matter of fact, Ameen is already a 3-time guest. He's been on here by himself. He's been on here when we interviewed our siblings, and now again with his soon-to-be wife. So I mean, you about to be like a 9-10-time guest. Right. We can already see it because of the stuff that you about to come up with. Like I said, just don't eat my car. Just let me have my car, bro. We disagree on something, we can talk about it. So this has been an amazing episode. I can't wait to see what you're doing in pediatric neurology from someone who is in the field of medicine myself. That's going to be very, very interesting because I love the immune system. Outside of the cardiovascular system, the immune system is my second favorite. So I can't wait to see what you do with that. But Jabril, anything?
Bro, I'm excited. We about to have a new host on the show. It's gonna be me and baby Jasir. We're gonna be right here.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be right here with it. He's gonna be scanning, asking questions. You know what I'm saying? you gotta keep it tight. But I've been thoroughly fed. Family, again, we are Tariq Cardiac and Jabril Engineer. Follow us at the STEM Files. That's at THESTEMFILES on Instagram and Twitter. And we have been live on Facebook and YouTube at the STEM Files. Make sure that you have been sharing this content, liking this content when it's uploaded. Make sure to share it again.
Right.
If you want to help with the content that we're putting out, we have a Cash App at hashtag the STEM Files. You can also text 770-695-7912 for other methods. We do this every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and our goal is to always strive to utilize this media arm to really make our communities a safe and decent place to live and heighten the level of consciousness to understand that not only are we Black in STEM, but Black is STEM.
That's right.
Do you all have anything you like to leave the audience with? Any nuggets, insights, advice, etc.?
Go ahead.
You got something? You got it. You go.
All right, I got something. I just want to say to everybody listening, definitely something that I think I grew up with. Just expose yourself to a lot of different things because you never know what you might be interested in. So I'll just leave that with that.
I like that. Like that. That's
good. Life coach.
Coming soon. No, stop.
I would just kind of echo what Jabril said earlier. A lot of times you're your worst critic, and you are capable of whatever you set your mind to. And sometimes even if you doubt yourself and you feel like you can't do it, you can always keep going, always keep trying, and just be the best that you can be.
Awesome.
If you first you don't succeed. No, stop. All right. There you go. Somebody knew the word.
There we go.
Well, family,
awesome, family.
This has been another edition of the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture, where we do our best to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and sometimes, mathematics. We are Jabril Engineer and Tariq Cardiac, joined by our wonderful guest, Ameen Muhammad, Taylor Phillips-Jones. Until next time, family, we love you. Keep on pushing. Keep on aspiring to do more for your community. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace.